the idea is that Japan has an unserviceable, unmanageable amount of debt. Their debt to GDP is twice as high as, say, the US is and anybody else. And there's no way that this is ever going to be paid back. And I'm sure others have wondered, how will this end? And what we've seen with the world turning to QE and getting, a standing ovation for doing so, now the BOJ has 42% of the outstanding debt. So it wouldn't, and at the rate they're buying them, it wouldn't be difficult to see how they could get to 50 or 60 or some other big number. And then, so the question is, what would happen if they said to the Ministry of Finance, look, we don't need to get this money back. We will exchange our JGBs for a 200-year 1 basis point bond, or a 200-year, or a perp, or something, something that they could call an asset. Some people said this can't possibly work because then the BOJ's assets would decline. Well, first of all, they have a printing press, remember? So it doesn't matter. Everyone who worries about central bank's asset has forgotten. They all have printing presses and they're using them, and no one seems to care. In a different environment, they might care, but that's not the one we're in. So let's say they get an asset back that they could say is worth 100 cents on the dollar. So boom, now all of a sudden, let's just take it to its logical conclusion. They buy up 100%, right, or 70 or 80%.
But how do they get to 100? That because at some point
they
have
just
to
step on the gas.
But they just say, right, we've got to 70. We'll take all the rest.
Well, I mean, we could come up with all kinds of fanciful stories. But let's just say that we have a financial accident in the world, and we start QE again here, and it doesn't really matter how they get to that point. The point becomes, if they get there, how does it play out? Should they try to do that?
Yeah.
And it's a really fascinating question, and I would love to have this discussion with every smart person I could find, because the way I see it when I walk myself through the steps is, okay, let's say they say, okay, we're going to tear this paper up, and now the BOJ's got a new 200-year 1 basis point asset. The debt service in Japan is now totally manageable. So there's no fear of a debt-inspired deflationary collapse. The first reaction people would say, well, the currency would be worthless. And I say, well, why would it be worthless? Because, I mean, first of all, these currencies are all worthless.